everybody? Mr.LAD over here. Just want to say thank you to all my subscribers and all those who support the channel. Thank you to all those who view and stay tuned for all of my upcoming videos. I really appreciate you all. Go ahead and do me a quick favor. Smash the like button. Destroy, obliterate, demolish the like button so YouTube pushes this video and more people can get a hold of these voiceovers. And thank you guys so much. Let's get to it. I just want to say I love these voiceovers because the thing about me reviewing products and doing how-tos and stuff is it gets really hard, and I'm bound to only talking about one subject per video, which isn't an issue, but with this method I'm able to show various different products, various different methods, and I can kind of take you into my life and make it a little bit more personal. You really get to see how I work and operate, which I think is more beneficial. But if not, let me know. So what I started off doing, which you've seen me do before, is I took my degreaser, which at this point I just have Super Clean diluted 1:1 and Chocolate Thunder diluted 1:1, and I pre-treat the wheels, the wheel wells, and the rims with the chemicals. And so why I do that is because it allows me to go ahead and spray and rinse off and do all that work. Now, a lot of people, it's so funny, I still get a lot of comments on my Chemical Guys Diablo wheel gel video of people saying, oh, well, there's no such thing as a spray on rinse off product. Well, this is doing it. You know, like this product right here, Chocolate Thunder, does it. And I just come back afterwards and I just come back and do a light little, just kind of getting in some of the creases. And I really don't even have to do that. All I have to do is really just dry off the wheel or just wipe it down at the end and it's completely fine. But I figured that, you know, for the video, doing the a little step with the brush is good. So I pre-treat it, rinse it off. I get most of the dirt off, even on the tires. The reason why I do that, yes, it takes more product, but this method saves me time because now I don't have to scrub the wheel twice to get it properly prepped for its dressing. Now I only have to do one scrub step. You'll see when I scrub it right here that it is, I mean, it doesn't come up that brown. Most of the browning comes off from the first step. So this method allows me to go ahead and save time, which for me, time is worth more than the product. I complain a lot about the price of products. I know I do, and I'm probably aggravating everyone. But at the same time, as a business owner, you need to even things out. So where I complain about costs and I try to keep the costs as low as possible, I also want to keep my time as efficient as possible. And this method allows me to do so because scrubbing takes more time than it does just spraying and rinsing off. That's why I prefer that method for the wheels. So we're just trucking along here. You know, for brushes, you really don't need anything specific. Just get a decently soft brush for the rims, but something that has just a tad bit of bite to it to make sure that it can go ahead and remove brake dust. But this isn't an issue, really. Just, you know, with the proper wheel cleaners, you're fine. I just have a standard brush for the wheels. You don't have to overthink it. You can go to Target and buy a little carpet brush for like $3. Max Shine has one for like double the price, which doesn't make any sense to me, but if you like it because of the grip and the handle, get it. This one was just a standard little carpet brush that I got, a little nylon bristle brush. It gets the job done and it allows me to do my work effectively. So now I'm rinsing off the car, kind of prepping it up for the next step, the foam cannon. In a second, you're gonna see me open up the gas cap. I don't always clean out the gas caps for every detail. I really only do it when it's needed, but the customer did request it for this time and I see her pretty frequently, so I don't mind taking care of her. And as you can see, this car is pretty well maintained. It's pretty clean as is. When we get to the interior, you'll definitely see that. But I'm going ahead and now I've opened up the gas cap and I'm taking my foam cannon with my Meguiar's Hyperwash. I am loving this soap, but guys, I am running out of it, so I do want to keep on trying new soaps. If you have any suggestions, let me know in the comment section below and I'll try some new ones. Now I'm going to say this, I do not use wash and wax soaps. I hate them. They're disgusting and despicable. Sorry, that was pretty harsh language, but you know, I stay away from wash and wax soaps. For me, they do more harm than good. as far as my application process, and I really notice it on the windows at the end. So something preferably pH balance. I do have purple power on hand at all times, but I don't use it all the time. And so something preferably pH balance without wax, something that's sun friendly, you know, and something like that, you know. Whatever, let's move on. So I took my brush and I'm just cleaning out the gas cap. Guys, have a couple brushes on hand, because you don't want to take the wheel brush to the gas cap. That's not the best thing to do, so it's always good to have a couple brushes on hand. Now I'm just going ahead and I am doing my contact wash, and I am doing my best to be thorough. Now, I know I usually use the Harbor Freight mitts, but I think I'm going to retire them. I like them, but the more that I use them, the more that I'm realizing that they're not the best. And I know they're not the best to begin with, but you know, if I'm working out in the sun, I need something that's going to go ahead and promote the longevity of the suds on the car, if that makes sense. So, because the soap already falls off at a certain rate, and I want something that is not going to do such. So these synthetic mitts, these wool mitts are even great, but the synthetic mitts like this is just the Platinum Series wash mitt I've reviewed before. It does a better job than the Harbor Freight mitts. Although Harbor Freight has a couple more mitts I'm going to try out. They're, I think, like 50 cents more a mitt. I mean, they're really cheap. So I'm going to try those out, do a review on them, and let you guys know. But what I do, and I have an interesting process, especially for this car, which is not dirty at all. I do a panel per side of the mitt. And so after I do 2 panels, then I wring the mitt out, go back to the bucket, use the grit guard, take it back out. Once again, 1 panel per side of the mitt. And then after the second time, I then go to my pressure washer, and then I rinse off the mitt, because I am trying to reduce the amount of dirt that gets into the bucket. Doing that method, regardless of the grit guard, the method using it with the pressure washer and rinsing off the mitt is way more effective than any 2-bucket method, any grit guard method, whatever. I just have the grit guard in there because I have them and might as well, right? It just, you know, dirt does settle at the bottom after some time, and so I just prefer to have it there. And I'm not talking about just like dirt particles. I mean like a film of dirt gets on the bottom, so you have to really rinse out your bucket every so often. But I'm just going around the car, and you know, I use the method with the pressure washer to clean it out. I do everything I can. What I like about this mitt, going back to the Platinum Series wash mitt, is it really helps to get inside the creases and crevices of the vehicle. So like in the front grille here, there's those you know, the grille has creases that, you know, a flat mitt really can't get into, but something with fibers or something with little particles, little twists or dreads that pop out really help out. And so I find it very effective for me. And now I'm just rinsing off the car. What I love about the Meguiar's Hyper Wash is that there are no streaks or stains. Like, I love it. Now, on the windows, that's where I do notice some. But I've mentioned it before, when you have a clear surface, it's going to show up so much more particles than a solid colored surface, if that makes any sense. So with the silver car here, you don't really see much dirt. Even if it was black or white, whatever, you don't see as much as you would on the windows, because, you know, where you should see a transparent, or at their very minimal, a translucent surface, now you see specks of dirt that hinder your vision from seeing through the glass to whatever's on the other side. And so, yes, there's residue that gets left on the window, but that I'm rinsing that off, and that's not too much of an issue. You know, I think most soaps are going to do that, unless you drop like $50, $60, $70 for a gallon of soap. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Like I said before, if you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll give them a try. I have no problem trying things out, especially because I can use them in my business, so, and I can let you guys know whether they're profitable or not. And so, just rinsing down the car, trying to be as effective and as efficient as possible. I have a low output pressure washer, so I really have to look at my methods here. Okay, so what I'm doing right now, the customer specifically requested also that I would clean out this trunk door jam area, whatever, the jam of the trunk, whatever you want to call it. And so I'm taking my brush. There's a little bit of soap residue in there, as well as the water from just rinsing the car. And so I'm just taking my brush, I am cleaning it out, and then I am taking my pressure washer. Don't freak out on me, but I'm taking my pressure washer and I am going ahead and rinsing it out. Now, yes, if you have like a pump sprayer, that might be the best thing you can do here, but I do not have any issues doing that with the pressure washer. It actually works very well for me, and I find myself getting a lot done and a lot accomplished here. So, you know, we're finishing up the first half of this detail, and now we're moving over to the part where we dry off the car. And so I have my sucker towel, my luxury microfiber sucker towel, which, you know, I've heard a lot of people been talking some stuff about Scott and issues, and I gotta say, I have not noticed any problems with Scott. I think he runs a great company. I think he runs a great business. He has been very kind to me, and every once in a while we communicate, and I have not seen any issues. So people are saying all these things, and it's like, you know, or they're not saying anything specific, but they're making kind of like these accusations. I'm just like, yo, he's a great guy. I haven't noticed any problems with him, and I support him. I think he's a great guy, and I'm thankful for his friendship, and I'm thankful for his influence in the community. That's not me trying to be a brown nose here. That's just me trying to stand up for a friend. I appreciate him, and he's done great work, and I appreciate what he does. So, moving on. But yeah, so I've had this towel for about probably well over 300 cars, maybe close to 40 to 50 washes. I'm looking to get a new towel. I'm actually going to probably try the Sucker Junior towels, but whatever, that's a whole different deal. Now, we're on the interior. This is the part where the camera angles get a little awkward here, but what I like to always do is, as I am assessing the interior, I always vacuum out the door jams in the car, and I take that very, very soft bristle brush. I don't like anything too aggressive or coarse, and I like to vacuum out every crease, every crevice, and assess it from there. Now, I want to give a quick shout out to James O'Brien here. He asked that I would try out the PNS Double Black Express Interior Cleaner, and that's exactly what I'm using on the interior. I'll give my full review on it soon, but just to let you know, I'm using it, and the results are they're fairly well. I do like them. I've used it before, but I haven't used it in a while just because I like to try things out here. But when it's requested, I like to you know, take care of the subscribers and my watchers and followers, and if they request something, I like to give it a try. But yeah, so that's what I'm using for the interior. I'm just kind of going around the car, vacuuming it out. Like I said, this is a fairly clean vehicle, so this is not taking me too much time. Really, I probably don't even need this prep vacuum step, but I'd like to touch as little dirt with liquid as possible. And then just vacuuming out the car. You know, this is back to the awkward camera angles here. You know, this is the fun part, and I say that with extreme sarcasm. It's still hot outside. The weather's getting better, you know, but it's still hot, so of course that's why I got my hat and my glasses. Shout out to Ross for hooking your boy up for $19 for a pair of shades and a hat here. But you know, just moving forward, trucking along, taking the interior cleaner, and we're just wiping down here. It leaves a nice sheen behind. Like I said, I'm not going to give my full review right now. I'm just going to, you know, kind of mention what I'm doing here, but it's working for me in this moment here. Maybe not every moment, but at least in this moment. And I'm just moving around the car here. It gets a little complicated moving around cars with all, you know, interiors with these creases and crevices and whatnot. But, you know, you have to remember in an express vowels and all that stuff, language and grammar here. But in an express detail, you know, you have to realize that there's a fine line between perfection and what people are paying for. You know, I mean, this is a maintenance detail. If they want perfection, they have to pay for perfection. And I'm sorry, even $100 express detail is not giving perfection. It's maintenance. And I've heard some YouTubers talk about, like, no, well, they pay for perfection. Well, I'm sorry, customers aren't going to pay $300 a week for that. And you have to realize, if I'm going to be spending an hour on a car, then, you know, the objective is to be profitable here. And perfection takes a long time. But remember, just because it's not perfect doesn't mean it doesn't look great, because my customer, even at the very end of this, was like, oh my gosh, my car looks amazing. Because I do a good job. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. If it was perfect, I'd be scrubbing down everything like crazy, taking every single little stain out of the carpet. But no, that's not what you do in an express detail. So I do think we need to get back to the mindset of there's a fine line between perfection and acceptance, and what's acceptable, and what's, what works for the moment. She was excited. She was happy. She said it was a good job. She was thankful. We were on a retainer, and I go back every so often and see her. Like, I do provide a great service for her, as well as many other clients, guys. So don't get beat up, because this is how people who start getting in the detailing world, they take 3 hours on a car. And it's like, why are you taking 3 hours on the car? It makes no sense. But whatever, let's move along here. So now I have a new tire dressing here. This is the Ardex new concept. I have an Ardex distributor by my house, and their new concept, it's a great tire shine. This stuff lasts for like 2 weeks, which is really good for a water-based tire dressing. It works very well. I spray a base application on, let it sit for some time. At the end of the detail, I take an applicator and just wipe it down. And it works very well for me, guys. Once again, I'll do a full review on it in the future. But it works very well. You can dilute it and use it as necessary. Now I'm just going to be moving the camera around a little bit, looking awkward and looking weird and all that stuff. And I'm taking my handy dandy, trusty, there we go for the third camera move, Technician's Choice Ceramic Detail Spray. This stuff works so great, guys. Although I am noticing, the more that I use it, the more that I'm realizing that you need to have 2 towels when using this product. This has to be a 2-towel method. It's very easy to use. I still think the easiest spray wax to this day, or spray sealant, whatever you want to call it, is the Turtle Wax Ice Spray Wax. Not the Seal and Shine, but the Ice Spray Wax. The Ice Spray Wax is just a dream to work with, and I can use it in so many cases. But in a case like this, it works very well. Now, Technician's Choice does work very well on black cars, but you need 2 towels. You're going to find yourself fighting a little bit, and the objective is to fight as little as necessary. This just, it fights you a little bit on dark cars. On a light color car, you don't notice a thing, because the high spots end up kind of going away over time. But it does take a little bit, and if you have to deliver the car back to the customer, those high spots can pose an issue when when you give the car back to the client, because they're going to walk around and say, what's that? What's that? What's that? Now, Technician's Choice doesn't streak, but I do notice a little bit of smearing, if that makes any sense. So that's why I'm recommending 2 towels, because streaking is when the product dries up and the particles inside the product seem to show residue. It's almost like water spots. They're product spots. But streaking is when there's almost like an imbalance and you didn't wipe it off fully. And so smearing is, as you're wiping it, the product is smeared and it moves with the towel and it doesn't fully come off. So I noticed that a little bit. It's so funny because I'm noticing it now after I've gone through about almost a gallon of this stuff, and not when I first started using it. So I don't know if maybe the shelf life is bad. Maybe I didn't shake it up good enough. Or maybe I have a bad batch. I don't know. I think it's a great product, and I keep it on hand at all time because I love it for door jams as well. But I always, the 2 spray waxes or spray sealants, whatever they have on hand at all times, is Technician's Choice Ceramic Detail Spray, as well as Turtle Wax Ice Spray Wax. Just because in the case where I'm in a rush and I can't worry about product fighting me and all that stuff, I go to Turtle Wax, and she's the good old girl. I love her. I love Miss Turtle Wax. She treats me well, which is funny to say because just 2 years ago there was this misconception about them, and everyone was all like, oh yeah, well, I'll never use Turtle Wax or anything like that, and we're all pro McGuire's, and it's like, I don't know, I like Ice Spray Wax better than Express Spray Wax. That's just my opinion though. I do have some X Wax at the house in storage, but I haven't used it in a while, to be completely honest. But nevertheless, we move on, and the panel is very, very smooth. That's one thing I love about Technician's Choice. It's not the smoothest on basic application. You kind of need to give good saturation. It's funny. It almost reminds me a bit of Bead Maker. Yeah, you kind of have to have a good amount applied on it, and the more it sits, the better it looks. I don't know, that might just be any product, but you know, this is SiO2, so it kind of does that, but you want to let it cure a little bit. Okay, my favorite part right here. This is a subject I've never talked about on my channel. Drop my rag. Glass cleaning. I am very particular, except for the chemical that I use. I'll be honest, I hate this Armor All glass cleaner. I know people like it. I think it's horrible. I still like Stoner's Invisible Glass. I think that's the best as far as, you know, what you can buy at retail. Stoner's Invisible Glass and the spray can version. The foam version is good too, but it gets a little pricey. But windows are so finicky, especially in the hot sun. And so I always do, no matter what, the 2 towel method. And I do I'll try to say it like this, 2 windows. Now I separate the front window, the windshield, and the rear window. Not this one right here, but the rear windshield, whatever you want to call it. I separate those into 2 separate windows. And how I handle it is I do 2 windows per side of my initial wipe off towel here. So I have a little waffle weave glass towel, and so I separate the front window, the front windshield, and the rear windshield. I separate those into 2 different windows, and so for half of this car I will use 2 sides as far as the outside goes. Now I'm going to go back and do the inside of the vehicle. You see I flipped the towel there, and now I'm going to assess the inside driver's side half, if that is the proper wording. And so that'll take me 2 more sides, 8 sides to a towel, and then you have you know, the full car done. And so that's just kind of how the method that I like to use. Now, Armor All so funny. You have to kind of rub that stuff in for it to not streak or smear. Now, I'm assuming that the reason why is because it is a lot of water inside the product. Where Stoner's Invisible Glass, there might be a little bit of a higher alcohol concentration. Now, I know people will probably say, well, you use too much product. Well, if I don't use a lot of product, it's hot outside, it's going to evaporate on me, then I'm going to have streaks and smears and stains and blah, 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 you know? I'm trying to make my life easier here. And you guys, not you guys, but people who complain just want to make my life harder. It's like, well, you're not doing it right. Well, buddy, I'm doing what works for me. That's just how it works. Now, of course, the best thing you can do is clay the window each time, because, you know, particles on the windows grab and it makes it harder to do the second step and all of that. And it's just, oh, I don't know. Windows might be the death of me, might be the death of every detailer. And so now I'm going over to the back side of the towel for the last 4 portions. Now, of course, the sun makes this look like a lot more product than I'm really using. But I have, like I said, I have to use a lot of products. If not, then it's going to just dry up on me. And I have to work in, like, I would have to separate this window into like 8 different sections. And that's just not happening, guys. That's not going to work here. But yeah, I don't like the Armor All glass cleaner. I think it's just too much water. The concentration of water to alcohol is too little. I think they need to put a little more alcohol inside of it. But, you know, $3 a bottle. What do you expect, you know? And so I'm just making my way, and we're going to be finishing up this detail soon. Making my way, continuing to move around the vehicle, continuing to move around and finish everything up. And, you know, just a couple more things at the end that I'm not going to get on camera here. But after here, you do the door jambs. I do one more wipe down on the tires, as well as I wipe down the wheels with a microfiber towel just to get any water spots or any last bit of dirt that I missed. And then that's really about it. You know, normally I don't take too much time in these details, and this detail has taken me roughly about, I don't know, I probably spent an hour and 15 minutes on this. on this express detail. Now, of course, this is a well-maintained vehicle. It's not that dirty. There's times where it takes me an hour and 45 minutes. There's a ton of varying factors. How dirty the car is, how big the car is, that's also a varying factor. There are so many, what's the word I'm looking for? There's so many factors that go into, you know, a detail. And, you know, the objective is to find what works best for you, as, you know, be as profitable and as time efficient as possible. And so I'm going to be doing more of these voiceover videos so you can see how I work in different environments, how I work on trucks, SUVs, you know, and in the meantime, I'm able to kind of talk about more products that I'm experimenting with, working with. And if there's anything that you want to see me handle or work on, or any systems you want me to try, this and that, then we can go ahead and do that. You know, that's the beautiful thing about, you know, YouTube, is I can go ahead and do the YouTube while I'm working here. But this is the finished product. Look at those tires, man. They're so glossy. I love them. But interior looks good. Everything looks well maintained. Nothing's glossy. Everything looks full. There is a nice upkept look. Always got to take out the trash. This is why you always do a last walkthrough before you bring your customer out to the car. You never know if you left something behind. And you know, I'm very happy with the results here. Technician's choice is looking good on the vehicle. The vehicle looks nice, glossy. There's a good amount of protection on the vehicle that'll hold up until the next time I see it. And you know, we got some good results over here, guys, and I'm so thankful, guys, for all your love and support. If there is anything you want to see me do in the future, let me know. Feel free to leave a comment below. Smash the like button, guys. I love you guys so much. Thank you for all your love and support. I'm about to throw up the thumbs up here. 1, 2, ready, yo.